1/4 of small businesses in this country don't have their April rent and mortgage, because while we're waiting for these aid packages to roll out in April, a lot of them have already lost most of their March revenue, and they've already prepaid a lot of those costs. So the economic contagion of this is really quite severe, and really, like, all of these things are designed to get us through this social distancing, physical distancing crisis period. There is going to be a larger conversation that's going to have to happen in this country about the rebuilding of things and the restructuring of things once this is over, in terms of provincial government finances, municipal government finances, and small and medium-sized businesses, and the large-scale industries that have been really heavily hit, like airlines, large-scale tourism, and of course the oil patch. So the rebuilding, the physiotherapy part of this after the emergency room medicine, that is going to be a significant and vastly expensive task that the government still has ahead of it.
I'm sorry, the Prime Minister's early, so I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Thank you so much. Here's the Prime Minister of Canada to speak with Canadians.
Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être des nôtres.
Thank you for being here.
Pour lutter contre la COVID-19,
To fight COVID-19, we are asking everyone to stay home as much as possible. But these recommendations have had the effect of slowing down business activity. Some have even had to shut down. And that's concerning not only for business people, but for your employees who need their paycheck in order to meet their own needs. We therefore introduced a plan in 3 points to protect jobs and people who have been laid off, as well as supporting businesses who are having problems with cash flow. But we know that for many people, their major concern is to ensure that they can continue to receive a salary. We therefore announced a wage subsidy last week to encourage employers to keep their employees on payroll.
Keep people on the payroll. We announced that the government would subsidize up to 75% of wages for qualifying businesses. We know what businesses are going through. Over the past weeks, you've had to get creative to keep money coming in. And in some cases, you've had to make the difficult decision of letting your employees go. For people to get through this tough time and for the economy to rebound, people have to keep their jobs. So we announced the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy.
Claudia Fernandez de Lara, you're in Mexico City.
Hi, yes, I am in Mexico City.
And how are you doing today?
I am okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. With all that's going on, it's pretty stressful, but I wanted to ask you what you think of the coronavirus and COVID-19.
This is a very rough time the whole world is living at, and it's for sure something I never thought I was gonna see or live ever in my life, a worldwide pandemic.
And how has it impacted your day-to-day life?
A lot. I work in a school, and well, as you know, now all schools are closed. The school where I work decided to close a week before the date the government set for closing, but I still had to work during that week, so it was really weird and sad at the same time to be there with no kids. But I think the school really took a very good measure, because health is the most important thing.
Hey Anthony, it's Matthew Bulis. I'm just going to answer some of the questions you were asking me. I don't know what to think. I think I'm pretty much like most of the other humans here. We're just kind of waiting for the professionals to make the decisions and then follow their lead and keep things as simple as possible, and wait for developments. what's it been like in Paris? We arrived here as essential travel kind of when everybody was getting out of here. And by the 13th, they closed all essential services, and the border had closed, and there was a 2-kilometer proximity that you needed signed declarations to pass through. And then Germany closed its borders, Spain closed its borders, Italy got a million times worse, and a few other people followed suit. I mean, a few other countries followed suit after that. And then they closed those proximities to 1K signed declarations, and did some other things. You know, there's rumors about the bicycle being banned and stuff like that. And obviously all the cafes and everything are closed. And for the Parisian people, that's pretty big time. On the 14th, you know, it was a really nice day. It was a Sunday. And I think everybody in the city went to all the parks. And so Macron was like, we're shutting all the parks down now. Way to go. It's your fault. It's wartime. Now it's war. So France is, you know, in wartime. And it's kind of that simple. I think that entails a lot of things. And if you can think about that and apply them appropriately, it makes a lot of sense.
Hi Anthony, this is Zoya from Hyderabad, India. Hope you're doing good. I know it's a very tough situation for everyone, for me, for you, for everyone out there, but we need to deal with this. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has become a global outbreak and global issue, where it's a very dangerous virus with very limited to no cure. Our day-to-day life has crippled a lot. Stepping out of the home, unless it's important or emergency. Groceries to jobs, all are impacted. Nobody from my family, I think from other families, are leaving their houses unless it's absolute important. We have a very irregular and tight routine due to the limited access and the availability of staffs, which has impacted everyone. And it's quite annoying when you simply can't go, and when you need something, and when you need to plan something, because before it was not like that. It was uncommon, and it's not our routine. So usually it impacts and it affects as well.
Mark Anderson McGaw, Operations Manager. What do you think of COVID-19? In a word, devastating. This virus can affect any of us any time. It doesn't matter your age, your religion, your race, your education, your wealth. We're all at risk. This is our generation's world war. I personally haven't seen much change. I go to work, I come home, I have dinner with my wife, we watch a movie, we do it the next day. Day to day is business as usual. As the British would say, stay calm and carry on. And that's what we've implemented here at work and at home. I think there's an underlying stress with all families during this crisis. And that affects your routines, it affects your attitude at home. We're doing our best to cope with it. I'm very fortunate. I'm married to a very understanding wife, and she's in the healthcare profession, so she's dealing with it day to day. So we don't really talk about it when I get home. I think she's had enough of the conversation at work. Here at work, we don't talk about it either. We just get on with things.
good. We have to also look at the trickle-down effect that we deal with inside the restaurants. Now, we're talking about restaurant workers, but restaurants are, work with all kinds of community-based organizations, small farms, dairy is affected, cheese, seafood,
Sure.
wine merchants,
Yeah.
The whole gamut. It's a big snowball.
So your restaurant has been around for a while and is successful. Is it hitting you differently than it would a smaller, newer restaurant, or what have you had to do?
Absolutely. Joe Beef is 15 years old and does fairly well. We have a little bit of a war chest, not much. After 15 years, it could weather a couple of months maybe. But I have friends in the industry and colleagues messaging me. I have friends that opened a week before this happened. They grand opening and grand closing 7 days later. I have friends that, $300,000 in renovation fees literally had to close 5 days after they reopened from renovating. There's a lot of people in hot water, a lot of people. 4 weeks from now, I won't be able to make payroll. So we have to study all of that and all of the fine print very carefully.
Are you worried about your future and your business?
Absolutely. I've been doing this since I'm 17 years old. I'm going to be 50 next year. I've given my whole life to the restaurant business. I love it. I enjoy it. And yeah, I can definitely see, we're just hemorrhaging money, and there's nothing to, it could be the end, but it's fine. Chin up. I'll bag groceries. I'll help out. I'm not gonna cry about it. I had a good run. Hopefully we can get back to it. Stay positive. But I've had a wonderful career and a great run. And if, that's it, so be it. I just, make sure that my kids are happy and healthy, and, my loved ones are taken care of, but chin up.
How has it impacted your family and your routines?
A lot. We've been here in quarantine for me for 2 weeks, because I had to work that last week. But Sophia, my daughter, she's been here for 3 weeks now. So well, she has online classes and a lot of homework to do, and I have work to do too. What I can, because it's very different to work from home than to be there. We really don't go out, but to get groceries or very essential things we need.
So what precautionary measures are you taking to deal with COVID-19?
We're at home. We don't go out. When we need to go out, we have the distance that is required, and we sanitize whatever we bring home. We wash our hands all what have been asking us to do. We do it.
I'm not a politician. I don't run a country. I don't understand the flow of things that need to happen as fast as they need to happen, or as strict as they need to happen. Certainly, it's very strict in France, and it's a good reminder every single day to keep in mind, that, I don't know, I'm not in charge. You're not in charge. There are people that have spent all their lives for these moments, and we need to listen to them.
Our government response has been good so far, but they can do much better if the people cooperate by restricting the non-essential visits and the non-essential movements, going outside unless it's important or an emergency. Where I can say my community is in a state of fear, as the other communities and other individuals are. A lot of hardships with lockdown in place, and I can say limited access. And as a precaution, I am staying home and practicing social distancing, being hygienic, and these are the measures we can take right now. These are the steps we can take as the precaution. And I would suggest everyone should do this, should practice their hygiene stuffs and being distancing themselves from gatherings and social things, because this is not the right time, I say.
I believe that the government's doing all it can at all levels. I've been impressed with the Liberals federally and the Conservatives provincially here in Ontario working together and putting partisan politics aside. You don't see that often, but in this crisis you have. They're working together to hopefully make the right decisions that will benefit us all. Only time will tell if these are the right decisions, but I think we're on the correct path. Well, here in Ontario, in southern Ontario, we're just coming out of a long winter. So at this time of the year, you start to see the children. You still see them, but they're staying in their driveways. They're not venturing past the sidewalk. Normally you see them at the park, running, playing in the swings, playing soccer or basketball or street hockey. And there's none of that. I think you'll recognize it more as it gets warmer here. And all those things we take for granted, having the great outdoors, we won't be able to do until the ban's lifted. But right now, I haven't seen anything dramatic.
Currency exchange is closed and you don't see any cars except for trucks going in there right now. You can see how dead it is though. You know how many cars would usually be there? The lineups would be at least to here on a normal day. If you go up there, they're gonna tell you to turn around.
And what do you think of the Mexican government's response to the coronavirus and COVID-19?
The president has been very irresponsible with his decisions and measures, and they had to took these measures like 3 weeks or before that. No, we were already seeing what was happening around the world. We were seeing what was happening in Italy and Spain, and he still thought that nothing was going to happen to us. We were like, but anyhow, I think the Mexicans think different, so we started to take our own measures. Like the school, they decided to close it, and I think the government has been taking very late measures. Like they, starting this week, they decided to close all not essential businesses and to keep distance and to stay home and stuff like that. And I really think that we had to do that before, not starting now. Well, but it's good they finally did it.
Day to day is pretty easy for me, I think. As a career artist, being in studio is something I'm extremely used to, so just being locked up in an apartment doesn't really cause me too much stress. However, I traveled very, very light, and I didn't bring art supplies or anything like that, but what I did bring was a camera with a 50mm and a 300 millimeter lens, and so I've kept myself really busy with that. Now, with that said, the social distancing and everything that's happening, I can't take real advantage of just like kicking it and taking photographs wherever I want and spending time doing that. I have to be really careful and mindful, and usually do it only during exercise and going to get groceries and stuff like that. Because that could cause some problems. I mean, it's not you'll just look like a tourist with a 300 millimeter out, and they'll stop us for sure. We've had some pretty close calls already, but I just personally haven't had to ever look through a lens before like this, I don't think. I'm also in a city that I've never been to before in my life, and it's locked down. It's a very interesting time to take photographs, but at the same time there are rules, and I'm not messing with those rules,
Obviously, COVID-19 indeed brought me closer to my family and friends, and it is also like a sense of safety, healthy measure of my loved ones, and this is the only priority which has become now for me. And at the end, I would say this is the virus. I mean, this virus is not spreading on its own. I'm just saying, because it's the people, but people are spreading it. People are dying, so please stay home and help others as well.
As with many Canadians, we're limiting our trips just to work, the grocery store and the gas station. We're not going to the movies, we're not going out for dinner, we're not meeting up with friends. You're washing your hands continuously, you're doing everything the government's told you to do to hopefully stay safe and to help keep everyone else safe at the same time. I mean, very fortunate because I grew up with a very close-knit group of friends who have supported me, and I've supported them throughout the years. And I regularly talk to them anyways. So friend-wise, I've been very fortunate because I've seen no difference because of my connections with my friends. Family-wise, once again, I talk to my mom, my dad, my sister once a week, my aunt once a week, my wife every night, of course. But there's a stress there. There's that unknown factor there, and when you used to say have a good night or talk to you later, it's always now stay safe, and that's the biggest change that I've recognized.
And how has it impacted your community? What changes do you see taking place?
Well, 2 weeks ago, everybody was kind of living their normal lives. There was there was a lot of people on the streets, and right now there's very few people. Businesses are closed now, and well, this is gonna really impact the economy, Mexican economy. And at the same time, there is a lot of people that cannot they cannot stop working. Their income is day by day, so and they have to do that to feed their families. I think we're very lucky that we can stay home.
And has it brought you closer to your family and friends?
Yeah, me and my daughter, we have been talking a lot. We spend more time together, and also with friends, we chat a lot more. I think this virus is bringing people together in a very strange way, because we are all in our homes. We're together, but far away. It's kind of in some way funny.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic in a way.
Yeah,
but
very.
Social media makes it more possible to engage like this and, interact with people. So that's one benefit of it happening at this time.
Same precautions that everyone's taking, from washing hands to staying at home, not being out. And I don't know, what else can we do other than that? All the same small things that have been suggested by healthcare professionals across the world. The only thing that changes is the language. I think originally, really, I didn't quest to contact anyone. I don't mind a studio process, so being, locked up wasn't a big deal. I just chilled out for a real long time, got into my own things, and I think now that we're, March 30th, it's more important to reach out to people and talk to them and see what's up, see how they're feeling. I mean, I think the doctors took that role and started videotaping everything, getting stuff out to them, and I think that was very important. We need to hear from the doctors more than we need to hear from the media. Who cares about the media at this point? The healthcare professionals have a role to play now, even in social media. That's way stronger and more important than, I don't know, a stylized thing that's just getting dropped off like pancakes.
Lastly, I would say look for yourselves, look for others, care for yourself, and do care for others, because it involves accountability and also a responsibility as a social being or well-being. I think the really important thing which matters is the positivity, which we need to bring all around, because it's very essential ingredient, what I feel now. And I'm not saying that people are not practicing. I'm just keeping my opinion here and sharing my views. So stay calm, stay cool, try not to impose things on others, and please practice and avoid gatherings and social stuff, restricting yourselves and avoiding the non-essential movements. And right thing you can do now in the current crisis is have faith in God.
So how is it impacting the homelessness in Mexico City?
There's a lot of old people that they don't have a home to be at. And like the other day I went to the supermarket and I saw these two kids selling candies, and it's very sad because they cannot afford not to be there, or I don't even know if they have a home to be at. Like what it's very sad is that we go like in our normal lives, we see them every day and we just think it's normal, and it's really not normal. Like they have to be at school or to be like somewhere else, not out there selling candies.
Yeah, that's very sad. It's very unfortunate. They're projecting in the United States now, at the time of recording this, they're projecting 140 to 250,000 deaths in the United States alone. And it's just staggering what's happening. And I hope that it doesn't impact Mexico as much as that. But obviously Mexico City is densely populated. So hopefully.
I really hope that too, because we don't have what they need to, like there's a lot of people, like if this impacts, I don't know, it's gonna be very, very hard to go out of this. We have to take advantage of the opportunity to create strong bonds with our families and friends, and starting like to take care of them by taking care of ourselves. I think it's a very good opportunity to do that.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
Not too much else is going on. Everything's. I think the world's in the same situation, and everyone can feel it. Other than that, I'm just gonna sign off and say I love you guys, and I hope everything's cool. And I'll see you back in Niagara pretty soon. All right. Cheers.
Be positive and follow the strict isolation orders, because it is for your own good, for our good, for my good. So yeah, that's all from me, I think. And I keep everyone in my prayers, and I keep wishing for everyone. I know it's a depressing thing, and it's quite being saddest also, but that's okay. Soon we're gonna over with this, and soon we'll be better.
I just like to add one thing, and that's for everyone to stay safe, and God willing, we're going to all make it through this together, and I love you all.
This unprecedented situation calls for unprecedented action, and it calls for good faith and trust between everyone involved. We are in this together, and that's why our government is stepping up to help all employers keep their employees. But for this to work, everyone has to do their part.